Hey guys, welcome back to North Country Off Grid. We just finished with the pig pen build. You guys be watching for those videos coming out. You guys are about a week behind or so on what's going on out here, but we're trying to catch you up, get it caught up so that you guys are more up to date. But we just finished the pig pen, getting Ruby moved in, and I thought it'd be a good time to come up and give you guys an update on the trespasser situation. There seems to be a lot of you that are very interested in it. So here we go. Basically, after the encounter we had with the guys up here, demanding easement through my property, essentially I asked him for any kind of paperwork proving that he has any sort of easement, any sort of claim up my property. We've checked title. There's no easement on record. So basically he has to come up with some sort of something saying that he belongs there. Now, before he even left, before we saw taillights from this guy, my wife, Shelby, was on the phone with title. Title was already verifying it and said, hey, listen, this guy has no claim to your guys' property. Don't worry about it. He's got to verify something. I said, all right, well, we're not going to worry about it too much. The following steps that we took were, we did talk to a lawyer, and that's as much as I'm going to hit on that. Again, guys, with all of this, I stayed as cordial as possible. I let the sheriff know, listen, these guys were just trespassing. This is what they were doing. We just want them gone. That's it. We just don't want them to come back. We don't want someone to be here who is not allowed to be here. We don't want someone coming up here who we don't want here. If you're not invited, don't come around. Now, I did not have the guy trespassed. I did not have the would-be landowner trespassed. And the reason for it, the reason I did not have him trespassed, although he could be trespassed just the same as the guy that was his agent, is if the guy is going to be my neighbor, I'm not trying to stir the hornet's nest with him. I'm not trying to be the mean neighbor. And if he comes back, which I gave him my number and I told him, go and do all the digging that you need to do everything that you want to do. And here's my number. You have the option to call me and talk to me. If you're going to sell the property, let's talk. Maybe we can work out a deal. If you need access to that property, we're going to have to talk, because that's the option. So I gave them my number. They went on their way. In the basically 15 days, I believe, since the last video was posted, since they were here, nothing has come of it. I haven't heard from him. I haven't heard from the agent. I haven't heard from a lawyer. I haven't heard from anybody about anything. So when I did talk to the sheriff called the guy, told him, listen, you're trespassed, you can't go back. If you go back, you will be arrested. The agent had let him know, hey, we want to stay in communication with him. I think we're going to talk to the title company, and we're all going to try and come up with some sort of a deal to try and work out. That told me right there that they went to title company, because they said they were going to. That told me that they went to title company and found out that they don't have any sort of a claim up my property. So the sheriff called me back and told me, hey, just to let you know, they do plan on calling you. They want to work out a deal. And I said, oh, that's fine. I have no problem talking to the guy. It's no big deal. I just don't want him out here. So it was all very civil. Although the guy is trespassed, it's all very civil. Now, Idaho's recently changed their stand your ground law. They passed a new law that basically is in favor it is more in favor of landowners out here. And essentially, you get 3 trespasses, and on your third one, you get a felony. Okay? And this is basically stemming from landowners being tired of people walking on their property, disrespecting their property, not caring that they're on their property. So it's a whole nother thing. It's a whole nother ballgame. And then this just recently passed. So I'm sure these guys have no idea of the law. That law also states, because it is a stand your ground law, that law also suggests, at least, it is slightly poorly written, that if you are trespassing on someone's property and you've knowingly gone past trespassing signs, you are essentially admitting to harmful intent. You know, what other reason do you have to be there? If you go past a trespassing sign, whether you believe that you have a right to be there, whether you believe that, oh, maybe Joe Bob put the sign up and it's not a real sign, that's a risk you are now taking. It's basically a line in the sand that landowners have come up with. Goat invasion. Hey, goaty goats, where are we going? Real trespassers are these goats. Hey. Okay, so that's part of the update of what we've got going on out here. What I have found out after these guys left is that there is an easement that gets this guy much closer to his property. It essentially goes north through my neighbor's property before you get to my property. It goes north through his property. It then turns and heads, it'd be west, towards this guy's property, and that easement goes right to this guy's border. So basically that rules the guy out from coming up my property. If he goes to court to try and get an easement, he's going to have to go to court with my neighbor. If he takes me to court and I point out this other easement, which they should already know about, it took me talking to my neighbor to figure it out. It should take him pulling title somewhere, talking to somebody to figure out his easement. The guy just didn't want to do it. But anyway, so when he figures that out, it's basically the neighbor to the north of my neighbor who he will then have to take to court to get an easement from, because that takes him right to his property. So he's just got to figure it out. Has nothing to do with me. With that being said, had I just given him easement up my property, I would have been giving up property. I would have been giving up what is the plans for our property. And I didn't need to do that because the guy was he was a property over from where he needed to go up. So for all the people who are saying, just let him cross, he doesn't need to be there. He's not supposed to be there. This guy came to the wrong property and started making demands towards the wrong neighbor when he could have just come to me and talked to me. For one, he could have just come to my neighbor's property and talked to him. It's a whole other situation when he deals with that neighbor. If he comes towards that neighbor with attitude, he's going to catch unbelievable attitude back, and he's not going to like it, and he will start a riff that will never end with that guy. That's his problem. That's the way he approaches people. There's repercussions to your actions. With me, you know, I can empathize with your situation, man. You made a purchase on a property, and you get there and you find out it's landlocked. I bet that's discouraging. I bet it is discouraging. It's probably fairly upsetting. This guy bought this property like some 10 years ago, and I assume he let it sit out here. From when I talked to him, it is apparent he hasn't been out here for years. So he's driving around looking for it, and he finds where he thinks it's at, and the property to the south of him, he says, well, I got to be able to come in through here because my property's to the north. All of this would have been avoided had the guy not acted irresponsibly at auction and just bought a piece of land. Now, no matter what, he's going to have to take a neighbor to court to demand access through the property, devaluing that person's property to gain value for his property. His plan is to just sell it. He bought it low to sell high. That's all he's doing, is he's out here to make a buck, and he doesn't care about the neighbors around him because he's completely planning on taking them to court and forcing an easement through, forcing people to spend money. That's fine. It no longer involves me. It's going to involve my neighbor, unfortunately. My neighbor is not as cordial as I am. He likes to be left alone. He likes his privacy, and he does not like disrespect whatsoever. I like my neighbor. He's a good guy. So another thing that I did not put in the other video to let you know what was going on, the road that we are on, the easement that comes through my property, the private easement that allows all my neighbors to have access to their property, heading east to west. That property, or excuse me, that easement is a two-part easement. There's two parts to it too. The first part is with the National Forest Service. and it is a 3-page easement. There are tons of rules. There are tons of guidelines. There are tons of restrictions. It's a big easement. As far as easements and rules go, it is a big easement. There is a ton there. He is going to have to go to court to get himself put on that easement so that he can legally cross National Forest Service. That's a giant I wouldn't want to take on, not one bit. But that's part of it. That's one. Two is everybody out here on this easement is he then has to get himself onto that easement, because if he doesn't, essentially what's happening is he's coming through our property, he's using our road. Whatever damage he does to that road, he wouldn't be responsible for, because he has no paperwork saying you have to spend X amount of dollars a year when we fix the road. Everyone out here is responsible for financially paying for the road. We have a committee out here. Things get voted on, and nothing gets voted on currently. Everyone's wants to stay out of everyone's business. We take care of the road as we see fit, and everyone does their part, but everyone respects the road and doesn't tear it up, because we are in and out of here year round, which means in the wintertime, if it's tore up, we don't get in and out of here. So for some other guy to come in here, do whatever he wants on the roads, it's a liability. It's absolutely a liability out here, because he would basically be using it free of charge, with no repercussions. You know, if he decided to tear it up, if he decided to play in the mud, do whatever he wanted to do, there's no way we could say, listen, man, you got to pay for this. You know, he's not supposed to be on the easement. That's the bottom line. 2 easements that he has to get himself onto. That is the bottom line. His third option, I think we're on third option. It doesn't matter his other option. So his other option is to come all the way from the west side. Now the west side is a big roundabout way, but it's public land access. So he would be able to come through the public land access. He would then have to take just 2 neighbors to court to get an easement through. So, I mean, either way, he has to deal with 2 easements to get back here. So you got to go to court, get yourself put onto 2 different easements. Then you have to go after 2 different neighbors. No matter where you go, you got to go after neighbors. So no matter where he goes, he would have to go after neighbors. The way my property is set up, it would be the second closest option. But again, you have to deal with all of the easements. And then anytime, you know, if he punched an easement through, whatever he has to do, he's got to spend a bunch of money to do it, because you're going to have to get the easement recorded. It's going to have to be surveyed and recorded. Otherwise, he can just go wherever he wants and says, "Where's the easement at? Nothing's surveyed. I can go where I want." So this is just another liability on the landowner. You need to get it surveyed. You need to say, "This is the easement. You can't go left. You can't go right. You have to go right down my easement," which a survey protects you on that. Now, a survey out here, I know for a fact, costs you $7,500 to do. So, at the very least, $7,500 to survey. You're talking court fees to get these neighbors to do whatever. It's a ton of money. I don't even know why he bought it. It's a huge headache he shouldn't have even bought. He should have looked at it and said, "I'm not touching it. That's ridiculous. There's no access, and I got to go to court to get all this legal access." It's a headache. It's a pain in the butt. Good for you. Good luck. I don't care. The guy was rude to me. Don't be rude to me. Don't come to my property and be rude to me. You come to my property and ask me for help, man, I'll help you all day long. All day long. My neighbors out here have done it. I've offered up help, and I've gone and done stuff with them, for them. Middle of the night before, we had to snowshoe into a neighbor's property to help him out. And that was fun. Good times. But that's the kind of neighbors we are out here. When you're respectful to one another. So that is that. Now, as far as suggestions that I've gotten a lot of suggestions on how to handle this situation. I've gotten apparently a ton of lawyers and a ton of judges on my page, which is great. Because I got tons of legal advice. It was great. The only thing about it is a lot of conflicting legal advice. There was a lot of opinions on both sides of the fence. There were some great suggestions. There were people suggesting that I put Cameras up. I should put game cameras up on my property at the fence, making sure nobody comes in and trespasses. I cannot confirm nor deny whether that was done, but that was a great idea. A couple of suggestions, not such a great idea. Shoot yourself in the head twice. That's not a good idea. I'd never get the second one off. So for all of you guys who just automatically went to some sort of physical threat, I don't know what your deal is. I would say go own property, and then you do whatever you want to do on that property, and maybe not worry so much about how I handle mine. For all those nasty comments, all those nasty threats, the guy doesn't even, his access isn't through my property. It's going to be through a neighbor's property if he chooses to do it. So thanks for the suggestions. Not good stuff from a lot of people. For most people, it was great. A lot of people, you guys were very supportive about it. A lot of people were very understanding about it. I could almost tell who are landowners and who don't own anything. It was pretty easy in the comments to see most people who own land just want you to respect their lands. They don't buy a chunk of land to have people roam all over it, to come on it whenever they want. Most people work hard, own a piece of land so that they can go hunting on or camping on, or, you know, they are using the wood on it. Whatever the reason is, that person bought that property. That person is entitled to that property. They're entitled to it. They paid for it. They can do whatever they want on it. That's my feelings on it. You get your property, go do whatever you want on it. I don't really care. You know, we're not negatively affecting anybody in what we're doing. We live way out. We're raising animals. We just got a little farm here, and we're trying to develop it, and we're not trying to step on anybody's toes, and we're not stepping on anyone's toes. So all the heavy opinions about people thinking that I should just give my property over, that's crazy. I'm not going to do it. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen. It was a big deal. It was a little deal that got turned into a big deal. I now am dealing with having to worry every day about getting some sort of a subpoena, having to spend money. I don't want to spend money on bullshit court, whatever. Like I bought this property to develop it. I want to stick my money into this property to develop it. Everything we're doing out here is for our kids. So obviously we're going to protect our property. We're not going to just hand it over. One of the biggest reasons, and people just wondered why not let him through? Guys, it's 5 acres that he has to drive through. You do a 20-foot swath through 5 acres, that's a big chunk of land gone. Whether you think that's a big deal or not, that's a big deal because I paid for that swath. Another thing is we allow our kids to play on our property. So if this guy were to just show up at any time, I would not feel comfortable knowing that someone can just drive right by where my kids are playing, and I'm all the way on the other side of my property. As it is right now, there's security out here, and the kids can play, and there's no threat of someone driving up past them or driving to them. You know, with that, I'm not super excited to just hand this easement over to a guy and say, yeah, come on in, man, that'll be great. Oh, you're selling the place? Fantastic. I have no idea who he's going to sell it to. I've got no idea if the guy's a good person. I have no idea if the guy has a criminal record, but I can tell you that I'm not going to jeopardize my kids' safety, my family's safety, my family's comfort out here just to be the nice neighbor. There are plenty of things out here where I will be the nice neighbor. You come and ask me for something, and you're most likely going to get it. You ask for my help, you're going to get it. You ask for a cord of wood because you broke your back, you're going to get it. That's the kind of neighbor I am. You come out here and tell me that you're going to take some of my land, not without a fight. Not without any kind of fight. It doesn't have to be a physical fight. It could be a court fight. It can be whatever fight you want it to be, but I'm not giving up anything that I worked for. That's just the bottom line. If you guys are out there and you think that that's the wrong mentality, go get property and give it up to the people who want it. That's up to you. Do whatever you want. Luckily, in America, we're free to do what we want, and so that's what I'm going to continue doing. I also choose to show respect to my neighbors out here. I also choose to respect the land out here. I also choose to respect the culture in this area. So with all of that, I do that. I also respect no trespassing signs. There's a lot of you who let me know that you don't. There's a lot of you who came up with some sort of weird reason or justification as to why a posted sign might not count. That's you. That's how you were brought up, I guess. That's the way your parents drilled into you, that sometimes the rules are okay to follow, or sometimes it's okay to just do whatever you want. I've been hunting since I was 6 years old, and I've never crossed a no trespassing sign. Not one time. It was always drilled into me growing up through hunter safety, through ethics. You don't go past a no trespassing sign. You always respect people's land. You always respect people's property. And if you can't do that, stay out of the woods. There's plenty of state land that you can go walking on. There's plenty of public use property. Plenty of it, tons of it, especially in Idaho. There are tons of it. So if you come to my 20 acres and you're not invited, you don't need to be there. And we'll take whatever precautions necessary to deal with that. That's just the way of it. When it comes down to my family and my security, everyone else is a very, very distant second. At the same time, I don't want to hurt anybody. I don't want to have a problem with anybody. I don't want to have feuds with my neighbors, especially. And I don't. This guy is not my neighbor. This guy is a land developer. This guy's a land flipper. He's an investor. I don't know that he's necessarily even from this area. I don't care if he's from this area. I didn't like his attitude, and so I'm not giving him anything. Don't come to me and tell me what you want. Come to me and ask me what you want, and then we'll work together. I would never demand anything from anybody unless I was willing to take it, which is a silly thing to do. So I will always ask. It's pretty simple. You just ask. I think our moms always taught us that, ask. It's pretty easy. Okay guys, that's it. This video is ridiculously long too. It didn't need to be, but it is. If you guys have any more questions, I don't know what to tell you. Breaking down absolutely everything without drawing a diagram to what was going on is about the only thing left. I think that a lot of people misunderstood what was going on and thought I was just blocking an easement road and said he can't have it. That's not what it was. The area that we drove up in, it's not a road. It's not a road. Your vehicle could physically go across it, but my vehicle could physically go across a farmer's field. That doesn't make it a road. That doesn't make it an easement. So a lot of you were misunderstanding that was an easement. It's not an easement. So that's it, guys. I'm gonna get back to work. I got a couple more T-posts to put in before bedtime tonight. So I got more work to do. If you've got another question about this, I may or may not answer it. I'm kind of over the whole trespassing thing. Our entire channel is about living off grid out here. It's about homesteading. It's about being a good person. It's about raising good people. That's all I care about. Unfortunately, this was an event that took place. It's an event that happened, but it could be a very good learning experience for everybody. From what I have been told from different people and their stories, whether they're lying or not, is that some people have said this has happened to them and they went to court and they lost and they had to give them an easement. Some people have said that they've gone to court and the judge has agreed with them and said, hey, you're out of luck. You bought a law-unlocked property. I'm not going to make this guy give up value on his property to give it to you. So this will be a learning experience for anyone buying property. If I've got to bear that cross, so to speak, and learn the hard way, and you guys learn through me, then I guess that's what you're going to do. We thought we crossed all of our T's, dotted all of our I's. So you don't know. When you walk into court, you never know what kind of mood that judge is in that day. Laws are subject to emotion. We've all seen that plenty of times. So we'll see. To me, if you buy land, it's your land. Nobody should be allowed to come in and demand anything from you at all, whether that's private citizen or government. That's what I think. That's my opinion on it. But we will do whatever is best for us. We'll do whatever's best for the family, whatever's best for the farm. That's the plan. And these goats that are following me around. So hopefully we don't have to deal with this stuff anymore, guys. I don't want our channel to be about trespassers. I want it to be all about homesteading. Unfortunately, we've been here about 7 months now, and we've had 3 trespassers, so there may be more of this stuff. It's negative. It brings a lot of negativity to the channel. It brings a lot of people to the channel that I don't want on the channel. A lot of our subscribers have been great people, have been extremely supportive people, and that's what we want. That's the kind of people we like to have, people who are getting, you know, influenced by what we're doing out here, people who are seeing us as a positive in their life. That's all we want to be. We don't want to, we don't want some drama-filled channel with a bunch of neighbor blah, blah, blah. So that's it. Guys, I am done ranting about this. I'm done talking about it. It's too much energy wasted. My shoulders hurt from digging. It's just too much energy wasted on this. It's such a dumb subject. To me, it blows my mind, but we'll see. I'll try to keep you guys updated if anything happens. Obviously, if we go to court, we'll try to take the camera right in the courtroom. We'll see if the judge will allow it. If not, then that's it. This is the last video on it. No more trespassing, hopefully. Hopefully it's just harmony out here, living life, doing our thing. That's it. These goats are bedding down. All right, guys, so we just finished up the pig pen build. You guys are going to start seeing the chicken coop build as well. I'll start getting those videos out. I apologize. I got the one video out on the chicken coop. I've got 7 or 8 videos that need to come out, so I apologize for not getting them out. We will get them out, get you guys up to date, because I know once Ruby starts popping, it's going to be a lot of fun. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching.